Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk to you about something deeply personal, yet universal. Something that transcends time, culture, and every circumstance. I want to talk to you about the power of belief. More specifically, the belief in your prayers. We often find ourselves in moments of despair, when life doesn't seem to go our way, when the weight of the world feels too heavy to carry. In those moments, it's easy to feel as though we are alone, as though no one understands, or as though nothing can change. But I'm here to tell you that there is power, immense power, in your prayers. Prayer isn't just about asking for help. It's about surrender. It is about showing up in the presence of something greater than ourselves, acknowledging that we are not in control of everything, but we have the power to choose how we respond to the challenges that come our way. Believing in your prayers doesn't mean everything will magically fall into place the way you imagined it would. It doesn't mean that hardship will vanish or that every obstacle will suddenly disappear. But what it does mean is that your connection to something greater than yourself will guide you through even the darkest of times. And that, my friends, is a power far greater than any worldly solution. We often underestimate the strength that lies within us when we have faith in something beyond our own understanding. Prayer is not just words. It's a conversation with your soul. It's a reminder that you are never alone. It's a source of strength when you feel weak, a source of hope when you feel hopeless, and a source of light when the world seems consumed by darkness. I stand here today not as someone who has never faced difficulty, but as someone who has known pain and struggle intimately. Life has tested me in ways I could never have imagined. And yet, I stand before you with conviction because I know that there is strength in belief. I know that in those moments when I felt I had nothing left to give, my prayers were the anchor that kept me grounded. It wasn't always an instant miracle, but it was always a sense of peace that washed over me when I felt like I was drowning. So I ask you, do you believe in your prayers? Do you believe that when you speak to the universe, to your higher power, you are heard? Do you believe that there is purpose in every word, every moment, every whisper of your heart? Belief isn't always easy. It requires patience, persistence, and trust. It asks you to let go of your need for immediate answers and to be patient enough to watch how things unfold. It asks you to trust that even when the road is unclear, your prayers are shaping your path in ways you might not yet understand. When you pray, believe that it's not just about what you ask for, but also about the transformation it brings within you, your faith, your trust, your resilience. All of these things grow stronger as you continue to believe in the power of your prayers. So, my friends, let us make a promise to ourselves. Let us promise to never lose faith, even when things don't go as planned. Let us promise to trust in the power of our prayers, because through them, we not only find solace, but we also find the strength to keep moving forward. Believe in your prayers, because when you do, you believe in yourself. And there is nothing more powerful than a person who believes in their own strength, their own light, and their own ability to rise. Prayer is not just about asking, but about surrender and connection. It is an act that transcends mere words spoken in moments of need. It is a profound exchange between your inner self and something beyond your immediate understanding. At its core, prayer is not simply a request for intervention, but rather a reflection of a deeper relationship, a connection to something greater. To the universe, to a higher power, or to the spiritual energy that surrounds and encompasses all things. The very act of praying is an expression of vulnerability, trust, and surrender. It is a powerful reminder that we are not always in control, but we are always connected to a source that can guide, sustain, and empower us in ways we cannot yet imagine. In a world that often emphasizes self-reliance, independence, and personal achievement, The act of prayer challenges the notion that we can and should control everything. When we pray, we are reminded that there are forces at work that we cannot see or fully understand. And in this acknowledgement, there is a release, a letting go of the burden of trying to control the uncontrollable. We cannot predict the future, nor can we always change the course of events. But prayer is a way of humbling ourselves to the truth that we are part of a much larger picture. By surrendering in prayer, we are allowing ourselves to trust that there is wisdom, purpose, and meaning in the unfolding of our lives. Surrendering prayer is not about passivity or resignation. It is about actively letting go of the need to have all the answers. It is the conscious decision to release the tight grip on our expectations and open ourselves up to whatever guidance or peace may come. When we approach prayer with this attitude, we acknowledge that we are not alone in our journey. The act of surrendering does not diminish our own strength or agency. Instead, it enhances our connection to a deeper well of wisdom and support that often exists beyond the limits of our understanding. Prayer is also an intimate act of connection. When we pray, we are reaching out to something beyond ourselves, and in doing so, we are invited into a space of profound communion. This connection, however, is not necessarily confined to religious or spiritual traditions. It can take many forms: a silent moment of reflection, a simple thank you offered to the universe, a heartfelt plea for guidance in times of need. It does not require specific words or rituals, nor does it demand particular beliefs. The connection that prayer fosters is not determined by external factors, but is instead a deeply personal experience of reaching out and being heard. In a sense, prayer is the soul's way of affirming its place in the grand scheme of existence. It is a reminder that we are part of something far greater than ourselves, and that in the act of praying, we are aligning ourselves with a force or energy that is infinite, timeless, and all-encompassing. This connection, whether we are consciously aware of it or not, has the potential to shift our perspective and open our hearts to the realization that we are not isolated beings. Our lives are intertwined with the lives of others, with the earth, and with the very universe in which we exist. Prayer, in its most honest form, acknowledges this interconnectedness and invites us to recognize our own place within this larger story. When we consider the role of prayer in times of difficulty or challenge, it becomes even more evident that prayer is not simply about asking for things to change or for our struggles to be alleviated. It is in many ways about inviting change within ourselves. When we pray, we allow ourselves to be open to transformation. The very act of prayer shifts our focus from the immediate difficulties at hand to a broader perspective that acknowledges the possibility of growth, healing, and understanding. In times of hardship, it is easy to feel as though we are alone in our suffering. We may experience feelings of frustration, helplessness, or hopelessness. Yet, when we turn to prayer, we are reminded that our suffering is not meaningless. It may be difficult to understand why certain things happen, why we face pain and loss. But prayer invites us to explore the possibility that there is something larger at work. Through prayer, we give ourselves permission to process these emotions, to question and to seek answers. But we also allow ourselves to be open to the idea that healing may not always come in the form we expect. Sometimes the healing we seek is not an immediate change in our external circumstances, but a transformation within ourselves, a shift in perspective, a deepening of compassion, or an increase in resilience. Prayer also invites us to surrender our need for certainty and control. Life is unpredictable, and at times it can feel like everything is falling apart. But in those moments, prayer reminds us that we are not meant to have all the answers. We are not meant to understand every twist and turn of our journey. The very nature of prayer calls us to embrace the unknown, to sit with uncertainty, and to trust that the answers will come when the time is right. This can be a difficult practice, as we live in a world that often demands instant gratification and clear solutions. Yet, prayer asks us to slow down, to let go of our need to control the timing and the outcome, and to trust that we are being guided in ways we cannot fully comprehend. Prayer is a way of cultivating trust, not just in something outside of ourselves, but in ourselves as well. When we pray, we are essentially saying, I trust that there is something more than I can see. I trust that there is wisdom in the universe, and I trust that I will be guided when I need it most. But in order for that trust to flourish, we must also cultivate trust in ourselves. We must believe that we are worthy of receiving guidance, that we have the strength to handle whatever comes our way, and that we are capable of navigating our own path, even when it seems unclear. In this sense, prayer becomes a form of self-empowerment. It is not about asking for something outside of ourselves to fix our problems, but about tapping into the inner resources that already exist within us. Prayer reminds us that we are not powerless. We are, in fact, capable of facing even the most daunting challenges. But in order to fully realize this, we must be willing to surrender our ego and our need for control. We must be willing to let go of the illusion that we can handle everything on our own and instead open ourselves up to the wisdom, guidance, and support that is available to us when we allow it in. Prayer is a way of nurturing our spiritual well-being. It is a practice that helps us align ourselves with our deepest values and purpose. In the hustle and bustle of daily life, it can be easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We get caught up in the demands of work, relationships, and responsibilities, and before we know it, we feel disconnected from our inner selves. Prayer provides us with an opportunity to reconnect, to take a moment of stillness, and reflect on our intentions, our desires, and our sense of purpose. It allows us to realign with the deeper truths that guide our lives, and it helps us remember who we are at our core. This connection to our inner selves is not just important for our spiritual growth, it also has a profound impact on our mental and emotional well-being. Prayer, in its truest sense, offers us a space to process our emotions, to release negativity, and to cultivate a sense of peace. In a world that often feels chaotic, prayer is a way of creating a sanctuary, a place where we can find clarity, calm, and comfort. It is a reminder that even in the midst of life's storms, we can find stillness within. The power of prayer lies not in the specific words we say or the rituals we follow, but in the intention behind it. It is about the sincere desire to connect with something greater than ourselves, to surrender to the unknown, and to trust in the guidance that comes from this deeper connection. It is an expression of hope, faith, and belief in the possibility of transformation. Through prayer, we not only seek change in our external world, but invite change within ourselves. And in doing so, we open ourselves up to the limitless possibilities that await us when we choose to believe in the power of surrender and connection. Believing in your prayers brings strength, peace, and guidance in difficult times. When we face challenges, whether they are personal, emotional, or external, it can often feel like we are standing at the edge of a vast, overwhelming sea with no way to navigate through it. We may feel small, powerless, and uncertain. In such moments, prayer can be a source of profound strength. It has the power to ground us when we feel like we're losing control, to provide comfort when we're weighed down by anxiety, and to offer direction when we feel lost. The strength that comes from believing in your prayers is not the type of strength that is visible to the world. It is an inner strength, a deep-rooted sense of resilience that rises from the act of connecting with something greater than yourself. It's an acknowledgement that there is a higher power at work one that may not always operate according to our timelines or expectations, but whose wisdom and guidance are always available when we choose to surrender to it. This surrender, however, is not about giving up or giving in. It is about trusting in the process, even when it is unclear. It is about recognizing that in the act of prayer, we are not helpless. We are opening ourselves up to the strength that exists within us and around us. The very act of praying, of offering our concerns, hopes, fears, and gratitude to a higher power, invites us to release our burdens. This release is not about denying our struggles or pretending that everything is fine when it's not. Instead, it's about acknowledging the reality of our difficulties and then letting go of the emotional and mental weight that comes with them. By turning to prayer, we allow ourselves to move from a state of worry to one of trust. We may not have all the answers, but in prayer, we find solace in the belief that we are supported. The strength that arises from this belief does not come from solving all our problems immediately. Rather, it comes from the understanding that there is a force larger than ourselves that is guiding us and will help us find our way even when the path ahead is unclear. Peace is another gift that comes from believing in your prayers. Life is filled with uncertainties, and it is easy to become overwhelmed by the noise and the chaos of the world around us. We constantly face decisions, pressures, expectations, and responsibilities that can leave us feeling anxious and unsettled. Prayer offers a refuge from this chaos, providing us with a space to pause, breathe, and reconnect with the stillness within. In this stillness, we find peace. It is a peace that transcends circumstances. A peace that comes not from having everything figured out, but from knowing that we don't have to face life's challenges alone. When we believe in the power of our prayers, we are reminded that we are part of something larger than ourselves. This belief shifts our perspective from one of isolation to one of connection. We are not separate from the world around us. We are interconnected with it, and our prayers are a way of aligning ourselves with this larger web of existence. This understanding brings a sense of comfort and calm because it reminds us that no matter what we are facing, we are part of a greater purpose. The peace that comes from this belief is not the absence of difficulty, but rather the ability to face difficulty with a sense of calm, knowing that we are not alone in our struggles. Guidance is another crucial aspect of believing in your prayers. Often when we are going through difficult times, we find ourselves at a crossroads. We may be unsure of what direction to take, or we may feel paralyzed by the weight of our choices. Prayer offers us a way to step back from our worries and connect with our inner wisdom. It is a channel through which we can seek clarity, ask for insight, and trust that guidance will come in whatever form it needs to. This guidance may not always be immediate or obvious, but it often appears in subtle ways. A feeling, a sign, a moment of clarity, or a shift in perspective. When we believe in our prayers, we open ourselves to receiving this guidance, trusting that we will be shown the way forward, even when we cannot see the entire path ahead. The power of prayer is not always in the answers we receive, but in the way it changes us. Prayer encourages us to cultivate patience, to trust in the process, and to allow ourselves to grow even in times of uncertainty. When we pray, we are acknowledging that we do not have all the answers, but that we are willing to be guided toward them. This willingness to be guided, to surrender to the unknown, is a source of immense strength. It allows us to step away from the need for control and to embrace the mystery of life with an open heart. Believing in your prayers can provide a sense of direction in times of confusion. When the world feels chaotic or when we are uncertain about which path to take, prayer offers us a way to anchor ourselves. By turning windward, we can find a sense of direction that is rooted in our deepest values and beliefs. Prayer helps us remember who we are at our core and what we stand for. It It reminds us that we have the ability to make choices that align with our true selves, even when the external world seems overwhelming or unclear. This direction is not always clear-cut or immediate, but it is a quiet knowing that we are moving in the right direction, even if we can't always see the full picture. Believing in your prayers creates a shift in perspective, one that encourages us to see our difficulties as opportunities for growth and transformation. Life's challenges often seem insurmountable when we face them on our own, but when we invite prayer into our lives, we shift from seeing ourselves as powerless victims of circumstance to recognizing that we have the strength, guidance, and support needed to navigate through our trials. Prayer is a reminder that we are not victims, but active participants in our own lives. It invites us to step into our power and face life's challenges with confidence, knowing that we have the inner resources to handle whatever comes our way. Believing in your prayers brings strength, peace, and guidance because it fosters a deep sense of connection to something greater than yourself. Prayer is not just about asking for help. It is about acknowledging the support, wisdom, and power that exists beyond our immediate understanding. By believing in your prayers, you tap into this force, and in doing so, you find the strength to move through difficult times with grace, the peace to rest in moments of uncertainty, and the guidance to navigate the complexities of life with clarity. Prayer invites us to embrace transformation within ourselves. When we approach prayer, we often think of it as a means to seek something external, guidance, relief, or intervention. While these are indeed common reasons for prayer, the true power of prayer lies in its ability to bring about internal transformation. Prayer is not just about asking for change in our circumstances, but about allowing the act of praying to shift and change us on a deeper level. It is an invitation to examine our hearts, question our beliefs, and reflect on our purpose. The transformation that comes through prayer is not always instant or dramatic, but it is profound and often subtle. Prayer allows us to step away from the noise of the world and engage with our inner selves in a way that is not possible in our daily routines. It gives us the space to confront our fears, doubts, and insecurities and to process the emotions that we may have been suppressing. Through this process, we begin to understand ourselves more clearly and develop a deeper connection to our true nature. This inner transformation is the foundation of the outer changes we may seek through prayer. One of the most significant aspects of this transformation is the shift in our mindset. When we are facing challenges or adversity, it is easy to become overwhelmed by negativity and fear. We often see our struggles as insurmountable obstacles, as problems that define us or limit our potential. Prayer, however, has the ability to shift our perspective. Through prayer, we can begin to view our challenges not as threats, but as opportunities for growth. We realize that every difficulty is an opportunity to learn, to evolve, and to become stronger. Prayer encourages us to look beyond the surface of our problems and to explore the deeper lessons they may hold. This shift in perspective is an essential part of the transformation that prayer offers. Prayer invites us to confront our inner fears and insecurities. When we pray, we are essentially opening ourselves up to the unknown. We are expressing our vulnerability and trusting that despite our uncertainties, we are held by something greater than ourselves. In doing so, we face our deepest fears, the fear of failure, rejection, loss, or the fear of the unknown. But as we pray, we also realize that these fears do not have to control us. Prayer allows us to acknowledge our fears without letting them define our actions or our self-worth. It empowers us to move through these fears with courage and trust, knowing that we are not alone in our journey. Through prayer, we also develop a deeper sense of compassion, both for ourselves and for others. As we engage in prayer, we open our hearts to the suffering of the world and the struggles of those around us. We begin to see the interconnectedness of all beings, recognizing that we are all facing our own battles. This awareness fosters empathy and compassion, and it helps us release judgment, resentment, and anger. When we pray, we are reminded that we are all part of the same human experience. This realization is transformative, as it allows us to let go of the ego-driven need to separate ourselves from others and to embrace the shared humanity that connects us all. Prayer also encourages forgiveness. As we pray, we are reminded that holding on to past hurts, grudges, and resentment only keeps us bound to the very things that cause us pain. Prayer invites us to release these negative emotions, not for the sake of the other person, but for our own healing. Forgiveness is a crucial step in the process of transformation. It is not about forgetting or condoning harmful actions, but about freeing ourselves from the emotional weight that keeps us stuck in the past. Prayer helps us understand that forgiveness is not a gift we give to others. It is a gift we give to ourselves. By forgiving, we release the grip that past hurts have on us and create space for healing, growth, and peace. As we continue to pray, we also begin to align ourselves with our higher purpose. Life often presents us with distractions and obligations that can pull us away from our true calling. We may become so caught up in the demands of daily life that we forget why we are here and what truly matters. Prayer offers us the opportunity to reconnect with our inner truth and to clarify our purpose. It helps us tune in to the whispers of our soul, reminding us of the values, passions, and dreams that drive us. Through prayer, we rediscover our sense of direction and begin to make choices that are more in alignment with our authentic selves. This alignment with our purpose is a key aspect of the transformation that prayer facilitates. Prayer helps us develop patience. Transformation is not a quick process. It takes time, effort, and perseverance. In moments when we are impatient or frustrated by the lack of visible progress, prayer reminds us that everything unfolds in its own time. We may not always understand why things are happening the way they are, but prayer helps us trust that there is a divine timing at play. It teaches us to let go of the need for immediate results and to trust that the seeds we are planting through prayer will eventually bear fruit. This patience is an essential component of the transformation process, as it allows us to remain grounded and hopeful even when the road ahead seems long. Prayer also invites us to release the need for control. One of the greatest barriers to transformation is our desire to control every aspect of our lives. We want to dictate the outcome of every situation, and when things don't go as planned, we feel anxious and defeated. Prayer teaches us that we are not meant to control everything, and that surrendering to the flow of life is a key part of growth. Guidance is another crucial aspect of believing in your prayers. When life becomes overwhelming and the choices we face feel too complicated or uncertain, prayer offers a path to clarity. It is a way to seek wisdom when we are unsure of the next step, a way to ask for direction when the future seems unclear. At times it feels as though we are walking through life's maze without a map, unsure of which turn to take or how to navigate the challenges ahead. In these moments, prayer serves as an invitation to step back from the noise of everyday life and seek guidance from a place of stillness. It calls us to pause and listen, to be open to the subtle messages that may appear in unexpected forms. Guidance in prayer is not always immediate, and it doesn't always come in the form we expect. We may hope for clear, direct answers. But more often, prayer provides us with small nudges, a feeling of peace, a shift in perspective, or a quiet sense of knowing. The guidance we receive through prayer is often subtle, but it is no less powerful. It may come in the form of a thought that arises in our minds at just the right moment, a sign that appears when we need it most, or a feeling in our hearts that leads us toward a certain decision. This type of guidance is not always rational or logical, and it can be easy to dismiss, but when we are open to it, it becomes a source of great wisdom. Prayer helps us cultivate a deeper sense of trust in this process. We may not always understand the path that is unfolding before us, and at times it can feel frustrating or disorienting. However, when we believe in the guidance we receive through prayer, we learn to trust that the answers will come when the time is right. This trust does not mean passively waiting for life to unfold, but rather it is an active surrender to the idea that we are being guided. Even when things seem uncertain or when we do not see immediate results, prayer reminds us that the universe or a higher power is always working in our favor. This belief in the unseen forces at play is what allows us to move forward with confidence, even when we cannot see the entire road ahead. Sometimes prayer offers us guidance by helping us clarify our values and priorities. In times of confusion, it is easy to become distracted by external pressures or the expectations of others. We may lose sight of what is truly important to us. Prayer gives us the space to reconnect with our inner truths, to realign ourselves with our deepest desires and values. When we pray, we ask for clarity, not just in terms of external decisions, but also in terms of how we want to live our lives. Prayer helps us understand who we are at our core and what we stand for, making it easier to navigate the choices we face from a place of authenticity. This sense of guidance is also deeply tied to the idea of intuition. As we develop our relationship with prayer, we become more attuned to our intuition, the quiet voice within that whispers what feels right. In a world that often values logic and reason, it can be difficult to trust our instincts, especially when they contradict what seems to be the logical choice. However, prayer helps us cultivate a deeper trust in our intuition. It teaches us that our inner wisdom is valuable and that the answers we seek are often already within us. Prayer doesn't just bring guidance from external sources. It helps us unlock the guidance that is already present inside us, waiting to be heard. Through prayer, we are also encouraged to seek guidance from within. Sometimes the answers we seek do not come from outside of ourselves, but from a deeper understanding of our own hearts. Prayer invites us to engage in self-reflection, to ask ourselves difficult questions, and to listen to the responses that arise from within. This process of self-discovery is an essential part of the guidance we receive. When we take the time to pray and reflect, we open ourselves to our own inner knowing. We learn to trust that we have the strength, the wisdom, and the clarity needed to navigate the challenges in our lives. In difficult moments, prayer also serves as a reminder that we are not alone. Even when we cannot see the path ahead, prayer connects us to something larger than ourselves. This connection provides us with the assurance that guidance is always available, even when we cannot perceive it. It helps us understand that we are part of a larger web of existence, that our actions are connected to something greater, and that everything is unfolding as it should. This belief in a guiding force or universal wisdom can offer comfort when we feel lost or uncertain. In moments of doubt, when we question our own ability to make the right decisions, prayer provides us with reassurance. It reminds us that we do not have to figure everything out on our own. We are supported by forces beyond our immediate understanding, and by turning to prayer, we open ourselves to the possibility of receiving the guidance that we need. This reassurance is a powerful reminder that even in the midst of confusion or uncertainty, we are being guided toward the right path. Prayer offers us a sense of peace during times of decision-making. The anxiety that often accompanies big choices can be overwhelming, and it can cloud our judgment. Prayer creates a space of calm where we can step away from the pressure of external expectations and the noise of our own fears. It allows us to approach decisions from a place of clarity and inner peace, rather than anxiety and doubt. Through prayer, we can connect to the quiet, steady part of ourselves that knows what is right, helping us move forward with confidence. Believing in the guidance that comes through prayer also teaches us patience. There are times when we may not receive immediate answers, or when the path ahead seems unclear. In these moments, prayer encourages us to wait with trust and faith. It teaches us that sometimes the best guidance comes in its own time, and that our patience is an essential part of the process. Waiting for answers through prayer can be a difficult practice, but it is in this waiting that we learn to surrender and trust in the unfolding of our lives. The guidance we receive may not always come when we expect it, but it is always available when we are ready to receive it. Prayer provides us with the clarity, peace, and trust we need to make decisions with confidence. It encourages us to connect with our inner wisdom, to trust the guidance that is available to us, and to move forward with faith in the process. Even when the way forward is not immediately clear, prayer reminds us that we are never truly lost. We are always being guided, whether we can see it or not. Believing in your prayers fosters a deep sense of resilience that carries us through the ups and downs of life. Resilience is often viewed as the ability to bounce back from adversity, but it is so much more than that. It is the strength to face challenges head on, the courage to persist even when things seem impossible, and the ability to maintain hope in the face of uncertainty. When we believe in our prayers, we are tapping into an inner well of resilience that empowers us to navigate life's difficulties with grace and fortitude. Prayer strengthens this resilience by reminding us that we are never alone, that we have a source of support and guidance available to us at all times, no matter what we are facing. One of the most powerful aspects of resilience is the ability to stay grounded even when life feels chaotic. It's easy to become overwhelmed when faced with hardship or when the world around us seems to be falling apart. In these moments, prayer offers us an anchor. It provides us with a moment of stillness, a space to connect with our inner strength and reaffirm our belief that we can endure whatever comes our way. Through prayer, we are reminded that our external circumstances do not define us. Even in the most turbulent times, we have the power to choose how we respond. Believing in our prayers allows us to hold on to that power and not let it slip away, even when everything around us feels unstable. Resilience is not just about withstanding the storm, it's about finding the strength to move forward in spite of it. Life can be full of setbacks, disappointments, and moments where things don't go as planned. When we face failure, it's easy to feel defeated, to question our worth, or to doubt our ability to keep going. But when we believe in the power of our prayers, we are reminded that setbacks are not the end of the road. Prayer encourages us to view failure as a temporary setback rather than a permanent defeat. It teaches us that every obstacle we encounter is an opportunity for growth, a chance to learn, and a stepping stone on our path to success. Through prayer, we cultivate a mindset that is focused on progress rather than perfection. And this mindset is a key element of resilience. The resilience that comes from believing in our prayers is also deeply rooted in the idea of surrender. This surrender is not about giving up or resigning ourselves to a fate we cannot control. Instead, it is about accepting the reality of our circumstances while also trusting that something greater is at work. Surrendering to the process allows us to release the need for control and to accept that some things are beyond our understanding. Prayer helps us practice this surrender by reminding us that we do not have to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. We can trust that there is a higher power guiding us, and we can surrender our worries, doubts, and fears to that power. This act of surrendering creates space for healing, growth, and transformation, and it strengthens our resilience by allowing us to let go of the unnecessary burdens that weigh us down and shoot our higher selves with loving and patient care. This is the way of the devil. In addition to surrender, prayer helps us build emotional resilience by teaching us how to process and release difficult emotions. Life is full of moments that can trigger intense feelings: grief, anger, sadness, frustration, fear, and many others. When we don't know how to process these emotions, they can build up and leave us feeling overwhelmed. Prayer offers us a safe space to acknowledge and release these feelings, allowing us to process them in a healthy way. Through prayer, we learn to express our emotions honestly, without judgment, and in doing so, we begin to release the emotional weight that we carry. This release is not an act of weakness, but one of strength, as it allows us to move forward without being held back by the past. Believing in your prayers also strengthens resilience by helping us shift our perspective on hardship. Instead of viewing difficulties as insurmountable obstacles, prayer encourages us to see them as opportunities for growth. When we pray, we open ourselves to the possibility that there is meaning and purpose behind our struggles. Prayer helps us reframe adversity so it becomes a catalyst for personal growth rather than a force that diminishes us. This shift in perspective is essential for resilience because it allows us to face hardship with a sense of empowerment rather than fear. We begin to believe that we can rise above our challenges and that each difficulty is a lesson in disguise, teaching us something valuable about ourselves and the world around us. Resilience also requires a strong sense of hope, and prayer plays a significant role in cultivating that hope. When we pray, we are connecting to a source of hope that transcends our current circumstances. Even when things seem bleak, prayer reminds us that there is always the possibility of change, that there is always hope for a better tomorrow. Prayer encourages us to trust in the process, even when we cannot see the way forward. This trust in something greater than ourselves nurtures hope and keeps us moving forward even in the darkest of times. By believing in our prayers, we are choosing to believe in the possibility of positive change, in the power of healing, and in the promise that no situation is permanent. Another way prayer strengthens resilience is by fostering a sense of community. When we pray, we are reminded that we are not isolated in our struggles, even if we feel alone at times. Prayer connects us to a greater network of support. This sense of connection is vital for building resilience because it reminds us that we have resources available to us, both visible and invisible.